There's not a moment to spare. It's quite a drop from the top. So how you feeling down there? It's a cold, cruel, harsh reality. Caught, stuck here with your enemies. Who do you think you are? Tearing us all apart. Where did you think you could go? 'Cause everyone already knows it's 20 to 1.
I'm outside of the tablet.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Raw Reaction. I'm, of course, your host with the most, Nate the effing Great, joined here by the sexy bitch himself, the man with more hair than Bray Wyatt ever could wish for, that being AJ Jensen. How are you, good sir?
Dude, I wish I had Bray Wyatt's hair. I don't know what you're talking about. Dude looks awesome.
Well,
The only person in the world that ever made me ever want dreadlocks, ever.
Oh, man. So we just got finished watching Monday Night Raw. Bit of a speed bump, to say the least. I mean, there's
Better than last week's Raw.
Yeah, definitely better than last week's Raw. I will agree with that. I mean, at least it didn't sleep through this one, so thank God for that. So let's just get right into it, talking about it. We kicked off Monday Night Raw with Mick Foley coming out, and you talked about me sounding like a robot. Jeez Louise, Mick Foley coming out with no cards saying, "I'm sorry for what I did last week. I'm sorry for giving Mr. Sacco to, Triple H and disrespecting Stephanie McMahon and blah, 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 blah." Control, Alt, Delete. Then Mick Foley started going on a rampage, basically talking about, giving everything that he could. But, surprise, surprise, they decide, oh, hey, let's just play around with Mick Foley's mic just a little bit, see what happens there. And then, of course, Stephanie McMahon comes out, and, of course, that's when the shit hits the fan. Because Stephanie McMahon is just a buzz killer and ratings killer when it comes to Raw, at least in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I don't know. Stephanie's kind of one of those chicks where it's like, I don't like when she talks more than 10, 15 seconds at a time. But, I don't know. I like Stephanie. I've always liked her. As far as her running the show, obviously, I know, even though she's the commissioner, she's not 100% responsible for the show. So I wouldn't necessarily blame the ratings on her. But, I think we all knew where this was going with last week. Everything with Foley, with the hip surgery coming up. I think everybody knew this time was coming. So, sorry, I'm just getting a little situated here. Yeah, I think we all knew this time was coming. I think anytime those two are on camera together, I think it's good. I know those two have a lot of respect and love for each other, even though they don't show it on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I mean, not really a whole lot to say about it, because like I said, we all saw this coming, so...
Yeah, so basically what AJ's really hinted to is that the fact that Stephanie McMahon came out and said that she's got 2 words for Mick Foley, and that was, suck it. Nope, it was, you're fired. So Mick Foley is no longer a part of Monday Night Raw as the Raw general manager. Honestly, I tweeted about it immediately after that. I said, wow, he got fired. Thank God, now he doesn't have to deal with this shithole. Because, all honesty, like I said, Raw is still quite a bit of a sinking ship with the ratings and with the way they're doing things. And for about the first hour, I was talking to our other co-host, Max, about this. It's just like, it's really sad how with Monday Night Raw, they're PG, but it just seems like just because it's PG, it just goes down horribly. And I made the case, you could still be PG and be awesome. I mean, just ask, NXT. Just ask Disney. They're doing it, no problem. They're making multi-million dollars. I mean, Disney especially. They're making multi-million dollars, especially with these new live-action remakes. They're doing completely fine. They're being PG. They're totally fine. Because they have stories and they know what the hell they're doing. Why is it that Raw does not still seem to have that rhythm yet? Why do they still feel like they're just like, let's just half-ass it this week and just see what happens?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I see what you're saying there, but I mean, when you start comparing it to like Disney and stuff, I mean that's a horse of a different color right there. I mean, there are way more Disney fans than there are wrestling fans. I think that's safe to say. And I really think they play to the PG stuff because of the kids. And I had this argument a while back about, why are they going PG? Why don't they make it more, adult-oriented? But, I mean, I remember the Attitude Era. It was great. I loved it. It's one of my favorite periods in wrestling. But one of the biggest things that came out of that, negative-wise, was all the stories of children breaking their brothers' necks, pile driving them through tables, or knocking their brother out with a steel chair shot to the head, or, some kind of home injury, even though it says, do not try this at home. Well, you tell a kid to not push the red button, what's he going to do? He's going to push the red button. So I think that's one of the reasons they went away from the PG-13 mature era towards, the PG era. And it's understandable because the backlash goes towards them. Because they always talk about it. Kid breaks arm in wrestling accident from something he saw on television. It all goes back to, WWE. So I get that. I get it. Does it make for good television, though? Not necessarily. NXT, they don't focus more on the storylines than they do the wrestling. And I think that's why they can get away with the PG stuff. SmackDown and Raw, they both heavily focus more on the story aspect and everything. And I think that takes away from the wrestling, but it also takes away from the storyline because it's not Disney. We're not having princess and prince fairy tales going on here. You're trying to sell a wrestling match, and it's hard to do when it's PG. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. But there's positives and negatives on both aspects of it.
Yeah, I'm just, my main complaint is just, trying to keep that entertainment value in there. But when they do stupid stuff like, Golden Truth, Shining Stars, and all that kind of BS that nobody really cares about, that's when you start to lose the audience. But we're getting a little too off topic here. Of course, like we said, Mick Foley got fired, and this brought out Sami Zayn, who cut one hell of a promo on Stephanie McMahon. I mean, this was one of the moments where, finally, they're doing something with Sami Zayn. They're finally giving him something to do. Could this actually be one of those things where it's like, oh, hey, Sami Zayn's going to stand up to the authority? Is he going to survive? Well, we'll wait and see. Because unfortunately, because Sami Zayn decided to shoot his mouth off to Stephanie, Who does that bring out? Mr. Dun 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 Dun. You guessed it, Samoa Joe, who comes out and they set up the match. Samoa Joe versus Sami Zayn. Oh, Jesus. Great way to start off Raw. I thought this matchup... Go ahead.
Can they book him as the Destroyer, like, any more than they already do? I swear to God, the entire time Samoa Joe came out on TV, and that entire match, bet $1 for every time they called him the Destroyer, I probably would have had about $20 by the end of that match.
I get to see your point there. Yeah, they just... They love doing that.
It's classic WWE because they do that all the time. For instance, Roman Reigns, they always call him the big dog. What was the one? Fantasy Warfare. They did that with Brock and Goldberg. They're still going on Fantasy Warfare with that. What was the one, though? It was First Time Ever, was it? I think that's the one where they were throwing that around. They have these terms and these names, and they constantly throw them out there and just put it into your head. So yeah, it's just another one of those things. Like, okay, this is their latest thing they're trying to do, is pound it into our brains that he's the Destroyer. I'm waiting for someone to slip up and call him the Samoan Bulldozer.
Oh boy, that would that would raise a bit of an eyebrow backstage. Be like, what did you just say? Samoan Destroyer. Samoan Destroyer. That's what I meant to say. No. Yeah, this matchup was pretty fast-paced, but also really good. It definitely showcased Sami Zayn looking amazing. But in the end, Samoa Joe choking him out with the Coquina Clutch. Again, like you said, looking, again, more like a badass. As always, Samoa Joe just... Damn. We go into the back...
I do gotta say, I think there was a moment... I saw this look on Stephanie McMahon's face when Sami Zayn was cutting that promo, and it almost looked like Stephanie had this look on her face, like, good for you, you know? Like it's like, almost like she was proud of what he was doing, like, wow, he really stepped up and made this good. I don't know, I kind of felt that at one point when I was looking. She kind of almost cracked this smile when he was talking, and a lot of people were like, oh, it's just her laughing, and I was kind of, I don't know, I kind of felt like she was like, oh, okay, he can actually do this, you know?
You know, now that you mentioned that kind of, I kind of did see a little bit of that, where it's like, all right, we're seeing Sami Zayn give it some, potential. She's looking pretty good.
She was like proud of it, like, wow, this worked out better than I thought.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Sami Zayn's still in that rut. Hopefully, this year is his year to give him something good. I say, put him in a feud with Kevin Owens when he wins the U.S. title at Mania, and hey, I'd love to see a title feud between Owens and Sami Zayn. I wouldn't be against that idea. But the backstage segment after the matchup was basically Mick Foley saying, hey, I may not be here anymore, but you got to be the one that stands up to them. Basically saying, thank you for everything. They share a bit of a hug. And then we see him do the same thing with Cesaro and Sheamus. Cesaro and Sheamus are saying, hey, thanks for giving us the opportunity when nobody else did. And then we get to see Mick Foley and Bayley share a bit of an embrace. This was kind of one of those moments where Mick Foley's leaving. I know it's probably only going to be for like a short period of time because he'll probably come back and promote whatever he has coming out, maybe a new book. He's Holy Foley, probably season 2, which I highly doubt is going to happen. But it's one of those things where it was kind of one of those things where, as a fan, it's kind of tugging your heartstrings because like everything that was going on with this backstage segment was just so real. It was so awesome because the thing was, Mick Foley believed in Sami Zayn. Mick Foley believed in Cesaro and Sheamus, and he believed in Bayley. That's why, quote unquote, he was the one who called her up. So it was really cool seeing that. And then we see our favorite, shovel carrying buddy, Triple H, come out, just say, have a nice day, and walk away. Triple H, you're the biggest dick in wrestling, and I love it. And sometimes I hate it at the same time. Which does go into the whole Seth Rollins